What happens to the one who carries everything? The schedule, the moods in the room, the unspoken fears of people who never ask how you're doing. What happens to the one who is never allowed to fall apart because too many people depend on their strength? They don't call you a hero. They just assume you'll handle it because you always have. But here's the truth no one tells you. Even pillars crack, even anchors need air, and even the strongest backs eventually ache. Some people fight for attention. You fight to stay standing. You're the person who remembers the birthdays, who checks on everyone else, who pushes through illness, stress, silence, and still shows up. Not because you're superhuman, but because you care that deeply. You hold the weight of others so they can breathe, but who holds you? This message isn't for the loud ones. It's not for the dramatic or the celebrated. It's for the quiet leaders, the emotional first responders, the invisible protectors. You don't need more pressure. You need someone to say this: you are seen. You are not weak for being tired. You don't have to carry it all alone anymore. Long before modern life made everything urgent, there were people who understood weight differently. In the mountains, among the monks, in the deserts, among the prophets, in the villages, among the women who carried generations on their backs. They knew what it meant to hold more than your body could explain, not just physical burdens, but emotional ones, spiritual ones. The weight of being dependable. In some traditions, they called it silent strength. Others called it the yoke of the wise. It didn't mean you were less tired, only that you were trusted with something heavy, because you had a soul strong enough to survive it. But they also knew something else, that even the strongest among them needed to rest. That wisdom was not in constant service, but in knowing when to lay the bundle down. In one forgotten story passed through the dry lands, a woman carried wood to keep her whole village warm. Every morning she rose early. Every evening she stoked the fire. But one day, her hands trembled, and she finally asked a question. Why does the fire always need me, but never notice when I disappear? That was the day she was no longer just a carrier, but a teacher. Because what she learned in that moment lives in every wisdom tradition worth remembering. You were not meant to carry what costs you your breath. You were not built to serve until your spirit fades. You are not selfish for needing silence. You are sacred. And sometimes, the greatest act of leadership is to sit down, not forever. Just long enough to remember you are more than what you give away. Let the fire rest. Let your arms lower. The world will not fall apart because you paused. But you might, if you don't. Just because no one claps doesn't mean you're not doing something worthy. Invisible strength is still strength. But it doesn't feel like it, does it? It feels like failure, like being overlooked, like showing up again and again, and no one noticing the cost. When you're the one who holds everything together, there are no awards, no headline, no viral moments. There's just you, waking up, pushing through, loving people who forgot you're human too. And over time, you start to ask yourself, what's the point of being strong if no one sees it? But here's the truth ancient wisdom offers. You were never meant to be seen for your strength. You were meant to become it. Strength that must be seen to exist is not real strength, it's ego. But the kind you carry, the kind that doesn't announce itself, the kind that lifts others even when it's breaking inside, that's sacred. That's the kind of strength mothers had during war. The kind of strength quiet fathers had after layoffs. The kind of strength found in elders who kept whole families fed on scraps and memory. They weren't famous. They weren't praised. But they were pillars, invisible, necessary. In today's world, strength is often confused with visibility. If it's not posted, it didn't happen. If it's not trending, it's not real. But what about the people who heal quietly, who don't share their process but live it? What about those who grieve in silence and still go to work the next day? What about the ones who stay? They're not loud, but they're not gone, and that is power. There is a tree in Africa with roots so deep that during drought, it feeds other trees underground. It's not the tallest. It doesn't bloom first. but it survives every season, and it gives through silence. You might be like that tree, still, grounded, feeding others when they don't even know it. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's legacy being built, one quiet act at a time. So the next time someone forgets your name, or doesn't return your energy, or questions what you bring to the table, remember this: and not all strength was made to be seen. Some strength was made to be carried, and the fact that no one noticed doesn't mean it didn't change the room. There's a lie we start to believe when we're the strong one, that if no one asks how we're doing, we must be fine. That if the group leans on us, if the family depends on us, if the workplace survives because we manage, then our pain must not count anymore. But just because they don't ask doesn't mean you don't deserve care. It means they've gotten used to your silence, to your smile, to your ability to make hard things look easy. They forgot you're carrying something too, because you've been carrying it so well. And the longer this goes on, the easier it is to mistake endurance for invisibility. You start thinking, maybe my exhaustion isn't valid. Maybe I should just be grateful. Maybe I don't need help, just more discipline. But ancient wisdom reminds us, even the ones who part seas need moments to cry on mountains. Even those who hold the fire need water sometimes. There's no nobility in burning out quietly. You were not made to hold everyone else's pain at the expense of your own healing. In one desert tradition, there was a law. If a beast of burden was given too much weight, the owner had to stop the journey, not because the animal failed, but because it was valued. The pause was sacred, not weakness. A honor. When was the last time you paused for yourself? Not because you collapsed, but because you matter. When was the last time you asked, "What do I need?" That question isn't selfish. It's how strong people stay strong. So if you're always checking on everyone, but no one checks on you, don't wait for permission. Rest. Step back. Let someone else lead the meeting. Say, "I need time," without explanation. Because your value does not increase by proving how much you can carry alone. Let me say that again slowly. Your value does not increase by proving how much you can carry alone. You are not a vessel to be poured out until empty. You are a soul, a story, a living, breathing reminder that even the strongest need care. And if they never ask, you ask yourself, you answer, you act. That's what real wisdom does. It's hard to keep going when nothing seems to be changing. You show up, you give your best, you stay consistent, and still, the results don't come. No breakthrough, no applause, no confirmation, just silence. That silence can be maddening. It makes you question your worth, your timing, even your calling. But here's what the ancient paths teach us. What most people forget. Growth doesn't make noise, not at first. Roots grow in silence, foundations form underground. And the seasons where nothing seems to be happening on the surface are often the very ones where the most transformation is happening within. You don't bake bread faster by turning up the heat. You don't birth something sacred by rushing the labor. The silence isn't punishment, it's formation. And no one claps for formation. They only clap for results. But applause doesn't build character. Hidden seasons do. There's an old tale passed through Eastern wisdom of a man who planted a bamboo seed. He watered it daily for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the neighbors laughed. They said, "Nothing's coming. You're wasting your time." But the man kept watering, kept trusting. In the 5th year, almost overnight, the bamboo shot up over 80 feet. Not because it grew in a day, but because the roots had been preparing for years. You're not behind. You're rooting. The job that ghosted you, the opportunity that closed, the season of loneliness that made no sense at the time. They weren't emptiness. They were depth being dug in the dark. Because one day, your character will have to carry what your ambition asked for. And if you rushed it, it would break you. But if you built it in silence, You won't need to chase applause. Your fruit will speak for itself. So if you're in a quiet season, if your work is unseen, your effort unacknowledged, your growth internal, don't run, don't panic, don't doubt. Keep watering, keep showing up. Keep practicing the slow faith that doesn't need proof to keep going, because the day will come when the world will ask how you did it so suddenly, and all you'll say is, I didn't grow fast, I grew deep. There's a strange pain no one talks about, the pain of watching others pass you by. While you're still becoming, you see their wins, their momentum, their recognition, and even if you cheer them on with grace, there's a voice inside that whispers, why not me? What did I do wrong? Am I not ready? But here's what ancient wisdom says to that whisper. You're not being left behind. You're being deepened. There is a sacred kind of loneliness that visits just before clarity arrives. It strips you of ego, of distraction, of the noise that once defined you, and asks, who are you without the comparison? Who are you when no one's watching? Not every delay is a denial. Not every silence is abandonment. Sometimes the separation is intentional, a space carved out, so your soul can catch up with your calling. You see, the people who rise too quickly, who skip the slow process, often collapse when pressure finds them. But those who are deepened, they don't just rise, they remain. Because they didn't build a platform, they built a core. And core doesn't quit when applause fades. Core doesn't get jealous when others shine. Core knows, I wasn't overlooked. I was protected. Protected from rushing. Protected from premature exposure. Protected from doors that looked good, but couldn't hold your truth. In one wisdom tradition, there's a story about a sculptor. Every day, he carved the same stone. People laughed, said it looked like nothing, mocked the slowness of his work. But months later, when the veil dropped, what they saw wasn't just a statue. It was a likeness of something eternal, a form no one else could have shaped, because only he had the patience to uncover it. You are that sculptor, and your delay is not empty, it is an altar. So if you feel distant, unseen, paused, don't rush to catch up with a world that's racing nowhere. Sink. Root. Widen your breath. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. And when it's time, you won't need to prove yourself. So your presence will say everything. So what do you do when you've spent years lighting fires for others, but forgot how to keep your own warmth? You stop, not forever, just long enough to ask a better question. What keeps me alive, not functioning, not appearing okay? Made alive, because the world will never stop needing you, but you must stop abandoning you. Here's what you can start doing today, quietly, without asking permission. For every morning, before the world gets loud, ask yourself, what do I need today that no one else will give me? Then give it, even if it's 15 minutes of silence, even if it's a boundary, even if it's stepping away from something that drains you. Once a week, write down everything you're carrying. Don't judge it, don't fix it, just name it. Because the soul does not heal under pressure, it heals in awareness. And every night before sleep, remind yourself that I am not behind, I am not too much, I am not broken. I am carrying sacred things in a silent season, and that is enough. Let this be your phrase. Tend your own fire first, not because you're selfish, but because you finally understand. You can't pour warmth from an ember that's gone cold. The world needs your strength. But even more than that, you need your own tenderness, not as a reward, but as a rhythm. And if no one ever thanks you, thank yourself. You stayed, you carried, you lived. Now, let yourself burn again.